so many people have been asking for this one that I just have to do it, even though I already covered it a bit in the Koopa Troopa video, the Hammer Bros, and there is actually more to them than I thought. So let's see how they changed in terms of gameplay, use, story, and design. Hammer Bros make their debut appearance in the first ever Super Mario Bros. Game. More often than not, they are encountered in pairs, attacking Mario by tossing hammers and jumping between rows of bricks. The player can defeat them by running into them while invincible, shooting fireballs at them, breaking the bricks directly underneath them, jumping on their head, or you can just avoid them. Now these are the elite of Bowser, his strongest and most skilled warriors, and to be honest, they are truly one of the hardest enemies to defeat. Thanks to the constant rain of hammers, jumping on their head becomes extremely difficult, especially with their random patterns. But it doesn't end there, they can also jump, and like I said, they come in groups. All of this combined makes them very hard to take on. They're special enemies, a challenge for the player, a bit like a mini-boss. Now after this, the Hammer Bros disappeared for a bit. They weren't seen in Super Mario Bros. 2, but that game was very different from the first anyway. In the game after that one, Super Mario Bros. 3, they went back to the old formula and started adding things to it. The Hammer Bros are given a bigger role in this game, however, their behavior is essentially the same. But 3 new species appear. First, the rare Fire Bros, who spit fire in a manner similar to that of Fire Mario. These are actually easier than the hammer-throwing version, since the fireball flies straight, so you can jump over them and then jump on their heads. Still, they can be a bit of a challenge, and they're mostly used for special scenarios where you have to fight 1 or 2 of them in order to get a reward. They actually did this with all Hammer Bro variations, and normal ones as well. They now mostly guard treasure. You get rewarded for killing them now. They most likely did this so that people would actually fight them instead of run past them, since in the previous game there was no incentive to take them out. You would risk your life for nothing. So overall this was a smart move. The player finally had a reason to fight them. The second new variation is the Boomerang Bros. They throw boomerangs that will return to them. Now just like the fire version, their attacks fly straight. This makes it a lot easier. However, with this one, if you miss, you need to be careful. It's a boomerang, so if you don't pay attention, it will get you on the way back. Now for the last variation, the Sledge Bros, who are huge and can pound the ground and temporarily immobilize Mario or Luigi. Now these are the more difficult version of the normal Hammer Bro. They both throw hammers which make jumping hard. However, if this one comes down after a jump and Mario's on the ground, then it will stun him for a short while. This can really mess you up if you were going in for an attack. If he stuns you at the right moment, he can take you out. Overall, this one can be a pain. Also, Hammer Bros patrol the map screens, and touching one there will result in a battle with them. This makes the map interactive, which is more fun, since it's not just a world map that you walk on, there's actually something that could happen. Besides that, it's great for getting extra items. There's also a new power-up, the Hammer Suit. This one gives Mario or Luigi the ability to throw hammers like a Hammer Bro, taking out stronger enemies like Boos, Dry Bones, and even Thwomps. They can also crouch and be invulnerable to fire attacks. So this one essentially turns you into a Hammer Bro. And in my opinion, this is one of the strongest power-ups in the entire game. You can take out almost everything with it, and besides that, it has a great range. Overall, a really good power-up. As you can see, the Hammer Bro got a huge role. They play a big part in the game itself, and a ton of new variations appeared. They usually do this when an enemy is very popular and has lots of potential, and apparently the Hammer Bro had both. But it's quite logical, since they were the most difficult enemy in the first game, so of course people remember it. Maybe they liked the challenge and that's why it grew in popularity. One thing's for sure, it didn't stop. In the next game, Super Mario World, they added even more variations. However, some things were also lost. Normal Hammer Bros are absent from the game. Instead, 2 variations of them appear. One of these variations is the amazing Flying Hammer Bro. This one is a huge hazard, since he throws hammers constantly, creating a rain of death. So going underneath it is very dangerous. Taking it out is almost impossible. He moves around constantly and he's up in the air, so it's wise to just run past it. This has to be the strongest variation of the enemy and was purely made to form a huge, overwhelming obstacle for the player. The other is the Sumo Bro, which can create thunderbolts that drop below and explode upon impact with the ground. Yet again, an enemy that you can best ignore. The spike on their head also makes it impossible to stomp them, and just running past is the smartest choice. For some reason, they started adding a lot of variations that attack from above and require some good timing. Now, the timing aspect is quite fitting, since this also plays a role with the original, but it's quite weird that everything attacks from above. I don't really know why they made that choice. The Hammer Bros and their Super Mario Bros. 3 variations were considered in development, but never ended up in the game. In general, Nintendo made some odd choices for Super Mario World. The game is fantastic, but a lot changed, and many iconic Mario enemies weren't seen in it. Now in the games that came after this with the Hammer Bros, many of the variations returned, but nothing really changed. Those games are set in a 2D world, so they just polished the ones from the previous games and put them in. We did see a Sumo Bro boss in one game, but to be honest, it's just a normal enemy, but with more health, and now it jumps around and stuns you. A bit like the Sledge Bro. Overall, it's as basic as possible, which is a shame. The Hammer Bro has so much more potential. They could have made a leader or general version with special tactics, or all the powers from the variations combined to one Super Hammer Bro. That would have been really cool, but sadly enough, that didn't happen. And the other games, well, yet again, disappointing overall. They only added one new variation and did something new with them. The new Ice Bros are a rare species of Hammer Bro that debuted in New Super Mario Bros. Wii. They resemble ordinary Hammer Bros, but with light blue and white shoes, shells, and helmets. Instead of throwing hammers, they will throw ice balls at their enemies, similar to Fire Bros, except that their ice balls disappear upon hitting the ground. So overall, they're not very different from the fire ones. They most likely made these so that they would have an ice-themed version for the snowy levels. Now another thing they did, which is not that special, is the Gold Bro. This one throws coins instead of hammers. A minor thing, to be honest. However, in Super Mario Galaxy 2, the Hammer Bros made their first 3D debut, and not a lot changed, which is really surprising. Normally they go through some changes, since they're in a completely different setting. But for the Hammer Bro, everything worked fine. They now just throw their hammers in every direction. They became easier to defeat thanks to it, since you can now dodge it sideways. In the 3D games after it, nothing new was introduced. They stayed the same. This also goes for the 2D version. However, in the trailer for Super Mario Odyssey, I saw something interesting. A completely new variation. It wears a chef's hat and throws frying pans. Besides this, we have no idea what it can do or what they're going to use it for. But overall, it looks really cool. And with this theme, they could do way more. This makes me even more curious what they're going to show off at E3. So the Hammer Bros went through quite a number of changes. At the core, they stayed the same, but Nintendo started expanding and making more types. It all started with one enemy, and now we have a wide range of elite soldiers for Bowser. Hey, before you go, be sure to check out my Twitter, Instagram, Discord, and Twitch. We do all kinds of fun stuff there, so be sure to follow me there. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you want to watch more videos, click the annotations on the screen right now, and don't forget to subscribe, since then we can get to 100k. And I just want to say that you are lovely.